Let's check this. Looks good. All right, cool. Let's do it. Here we go.
Yeah, man.
We have a chance to try to extend our season record to 12 games. And that's important for us, and that's the only thing that's really pretty much on my mind, and I think I speak for the masses when I say that. The defense is playing great, the special teams is getting great field position, the offense is winning, the point of attack, we found ways to win.
You can't get to there until you take care of what's next.
I want to be number one.
Do you think you are the best?
Right now, at the time in life and where I'm playing at, yes.
Hey, it's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. We're just coming out of a show. We're a little late. We're 15 minutes late to the party because we were partying. We had the C3 Fantasy Football Selection Show where we gave away an autographed Christian McCaffrey jersey. Brandon Herbert, Black Cat there, winner of that. We gave away a Julius Peppers autograph photograph. Congratulations, Bryson Carbley. And we had a Cam Newton jersey won by Stanley Goodwin II in the Fantasy Football League for Panther fans. Cody, it's your first time in the league, and it was a party then, and now it's a party now because we get to talk about Carolina Panthers football.
Absolutely, man. And we're coming in like DJ Moore going 113 on I-77, baby. Let's go.
Heck yeah. See, this man, every week, he does not fail to impress with how clever he could be. All right. Tonight's show is episode 18.29. That's right, the 29th episode of the season. And tonight's show title is Could He Kalil Carolina's Season? Big time news has hit as the third starter, or potential starter at the time, as Matt Kalil sat out at practice after the second preseason game where he was roasted and toasted. And he sat out of practice. It almost seemed like he was in timeout. Turns out that timeout was preventative knee maintenance that then turned on to him going to the doctor and having his knee scoped while he was there almost like immediately then. So what this does is this, even though Matt Kalil is not particularly good, what this does is this puts a lot of stress on our offensive line. So we'll be talking about all of that tonight, as well as we're going to be recapping, or not recapping, at least talking about what we saw in the second preseason game. Christian McCaffrey with a giant 71-yard touchdown run, a monster in that game, as well as, look, I mean, you saw Ian Thomas show out. A lot of good things there, Cody. Were you feeling good during that preseason game?
Yeah, man, and really a lot of the stuff that I wanted to see us do is what we did. I wasn't worried about our defense. I mean, other than 27-20, throw that score out the window. We didn't let them score a touchdown until the very end of the fourth quarter. Our defense looked good on just about all phases. And, other than one inerrant throw by Cam Newton, everyone had a pretty nice game, and everyone was on display. Ian Thomas showed a lot of speed that I don't think people realized that he had a lot of, man. He caught that ball and turned upfield, and he went up quick. Obviously, the play of the game was that Christian McCaffrey run. There was a lot to like from a lot of our high-powered offensive weapons. Yeah, man, there's a lot to love, and obviously there's a lot to be concerned about. But the weapons that we've brought in as of right now, man, they're looking as advertised.
That's for certain, guys. This is a C3 Panthers podcast. We encourage you, if you're watching on YouTube, to turn your phone portrait style. That's right. Turn it vertically and smash the thumbs up button. What is that? Come on. Does that take a lot? It really helps. It helps to push up our views and push us up on the YouTube page. We encourage you to find us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles, as well as check out the website, carolinacatchronicles.com. All the people listening on TuneIn, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast, we're glad that you incorporate us into your daily routines, and consider writing a review. And if you really like what you hear, you can check the show notes for a Patreon link. And the Patreon link is a way that we can continue to fund the podcast and the expenses that do occur with equipment and what monthly maintenance costs. But that's it, guys. Let's jump into this. I think what we probably need to talk about first is this is Ron Rivera, I believe yesterday, Sunday at the earliest. Oh, actually, no, before we do that, Joe Riolano's in the house. What's up, Joe?
I'm here.
He's here. That freaking Puerto Rican. You doing all right, Joe?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing very well, thank God.
All right, so the major news is surrounding Matt Kalil, who really had a stinker of a game for two. And this is, look, I tend to try to view the preseason as, are we seeing guys trend up or down? Are we seeing guys improve from one week to the other or continue to struggle? Like, you didn't see Kevon Seymour. I did see him get beat once in this game, but it wasn't like he got beat like a drum. He did in the first game. So I think that's a positive step for him. Matt Kalil, who did not have the best game in the first game, really had a tough go against Robert Quinn. And even the idea that only the sacks that he gave up were the problem, his faults. It seemed like any pressure, anything, it all originated from that right defensive end position and that left offensive tackle position that Kalil plays. And now he sat out after the game in the first practice, and I believe this was yesterday.
Precautionary where Matt's concerned.
I hope so. I mean, I really do. He's practiced well. He struggled a little bit the other day because of it, but for the most part, hopefully it's just one of those things that, a little something here or there, and he'll be ready to roll once we get ready for the season.
Was that the day he stayed out in Spartanburg too?
Yeah, it did, and so we just wanted to make sure. So we're having to take a look at it. So it's being for.
So what we got Matt Kalil, who is reportedly the healthiest he's been in his entire career in training camp, and I don't want to kick the man in the shins when his knee's hurting him, but you kind of, as a guy who is not proven himself just yet or anywhere close to it yet, and he's continuing to have these injury problems, and this is what happened today. Let me see, where is it? Right here.
That said, is it safe to assume that Marty and Matt Allen and those folks,
with Matt being week to week, is that more positive than it could have been?
Yes. Apparently, he had gone up there for the exam, and because there was an opportunity, they went ahead and did the procedure. So, other than that.
All right, so he goes in from yesterday, precautionary, going to see the doctor, to while they were there saying, hey, let's clean out that knee. Joey, you probably, and I'm just guessing here, you got the most experience with surgery on the podcast. Far more than I have. What's like a little how do you just do a knee scope on a Tuesday?
I think it's a pretty simple process. They have perfected this because they've done it so many times. Just basically scoping into the knee, trying to see if there's any damage, see where the inflammation is, even see if there's, particles of bone or cartilage floating around in there.
So when they say a scope, do they mean that they're just
camera peeking? Literally with a camera in the knee.
So what is this? Why can't you pick this up on, say, MRIs or X-ray?
Well, sometimes with MRIs and X-rays, the inflammation would prevent picking something up. When you go in with a scope, you have access to the entire knee. You can go around the inflammation, or you can go, you can access the knee to more points. have more points of access. So that's probably why they couldn't see it in an MRI or in an X-ray. And when they got in there, they thought, well, there's enough in here to warrant going ahead and doing this procedure.
So what do you think they did? Just cleaned out some floating around?
Yeah, they went in and maybe there was some, material floating around they extracted. Maybe they had to file some bone down or cut away some cartilage. Who knows? There's a number of reasons they can go and clean out a knee. That's just a general term.
Right.
That they use. But truth be told, like most things, we've been doing it so long and it's become such a specialized procedure, recovery is pretty quick.
Cody, I'm going to ask Cody this, and then Joey, you can chime in too, is what is your level of concern now in the context, not just of, look, Matt Kalil hasn't been great by any stretch, but in the wake of a Darrell Williams, who was the slated starter, or at least competing for a right tackle spot, who gets injured when torn or strained MCL or something to that effect, a dislocated kneecap or something. And then so Taylor Moton slips in there, and then you have Amini Silatulu, who is taking over the lead role at left guard, who becomes the kind of front runner in that position. He goes down for what looks like, I thought, from all sounds and reports at the time, was like the whole season. But they're like, hey, he's week to week.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
Which is like, okay, Magic people. But now that you have Matt Kalil, is that
they're wizards, Harry.
I know. Where is your level of concern at this point, Cody?
Very, very, very high. So then, okay, well, let's also look at it this way. Matt Kalil has had his entire career mired by injuries. So even if it's just something that's, okay, he'll be back up and running fairly soon, what does this do to his confidence level? And then it also goes to prove, when we listen to these interviews with Ron Rivera or any of the players, and especially with Ron, they have this disdain for answering questions about injuries. And not only do they have that disdain, but they don't feel the need to even tell you anything near the
accurate
truth. If they don't have to, because Matt Kalil was saying this entire time that he entered in healthy this season as opposed to last season, and that was a big advantage for him that he didn't have last season. But now it seems like we're hearing that this has been something that he's been dealing with since the start of camp. So which is it? Was it healthy going in, or was he banged up? And
or are they always banged up?
Yeah,
some of these players are just probably rickety at this point, especially a big body like him.
You're also coming off of the off season though, so it's not like he had something to do that was just
games into the season.
Yeah, putting his body through the rigors of it, man. I mean,
they barely practice.
Yeah, and then, okay, let's say it does turn out to be something more serious. Man, who do we have behind him? Like, what Joe Schmo is now going to play the left tackle, what might be the most important position on your offensive line, in football, period. I mean, who's going to play that? I mean, there's a real scenario where Ryan Kalil and Trey Turner are the only two returning offensive linemen we will have from last year. I mean, I'm not telling everyone to push the panic button. I'm just saying at this current moment in the ball game, it's not looking wonderful. So, yeah, man, I don't know if we look to free agency or waivers. I don't know what we do, but I think we all just sort of have to pray that the answer is on the roster right now, and I don't know that it is.
Oh, my God. All right, this is what J-Dub says. Great comment here from J-Dub. Early bye week looking better and better for us.
Yeah, I saw that. Amen.
Who would have thought that we'd have been so banged up and that we needed in week two or whatever, well, not week 2, but or week 5 or whatever it is. I don't know what week it is, but I feel like we always have early bye. BS12 says level of concern with O-line 0. feels like a bunch of Andrew Norwells waiting on their chance.
Oh God, that's so silly.
I don't feel like that at all.
No, I don't. I mean, a bunch of Andrew Norwell. That's crazy.
Yeah, how often did you find an Andrew Norwell type player just as an undrafted free agent? They don't come around very often.
I was 1 in a million.
Right,
yeah,
and
really.
This says my concern. J-Dub says my concern was the deepest at O-line to begin with. Now hovering over panic button. Joey, what's your level of concern?
I'm deeply concerned as well. You know, God, you can really barely say that Matt Kalil was just okay at left tackle.
Right. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean, he was verging on bad. Yes. He was bad. Yes. Not even good. He was not good.
And if you were, you're counting on this guy, depending on this guy, and like you said, came in healthy, and now something's wrong. Funny how after he got worked by Dolphins defense, all of a sudden he has knee problems.
He's got the doctor getting checked out for hurt feelings.
Right, he got the drink. He didn't go to the knee doctor.
He went to the head doctor.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely have trouble. It was a very thin spot for us, and now it's even thinner. A couple of things. I listened to Ron Rivera. I think it was post-practice today, and he said that God, I'm drawing a complete blank. Our right tackle to start the year.
Moten.
Yeah, Daryl Williams is actually doing work.
Oh yeah, this is the best part. All right, let's talk about this, Joey, because I listened to that interview and I almost cut that clip. Because and I didn't cut it, but like I wanted to. So he said this is like he's starting the whole time he's talking about Matt Kalil and that knee, and he's talking about how thin they were and how difficult it is, and you can tell he's trying to say, hey, we got to play with the guys we got. You're gonna have fans chime in now and be like, y'all ain't real fans if you worried. It's next man up. It's next man. Well,
how stupid, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as simple as that. There's is that if you thought Matt Kalil is bad, his backup really is bad.
Oh, right, exactly.
Moten is the only bright spot on this. So Rivera's talking about all this. He's kind of trying to find some optimism, or be optimistic about Moten and Trey Turner. And then you hear the reporters, every other reporter's like, is there silver lining in this? Is there silver lining in that? And you just know he's like, there ain't no damn silver lining. So he's going on and on, he's saying all this, and then they go, so we saw Daryl Williams moving around, and he goes from like he's like so happy. He's like, oh my God. Yes, it was so great to see him moving around. There's no timetable, but damn it, this is great. Like he was, like you could almost just see him like saying, "Please, Daryl, we need you."
That potential contract, he was all wounds, baby. Daryl's trying to get paid this year. Man.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think that's what it is.
So here they
I was worried. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They asked Ron Rivera about his level of concern.
Where are you with your concern level at this point?
Absolutely concerned. I mean, you've got 3 potential starters right now that are missing time. And so it's going to be tough. But, again, us as coaches got to continue to do the best job we can, make sure everybody gets prepared.
All right, so when you think about this, and the reason I say the name of the show is Could He Kalil Carolina's Season, I think is that when people hear us kind of nervous about this offensive line and these things, and they say, oh, you're freaking out, this happens all the time, this is the NFL, that type of, injuries are a part of the game. I think it's the context of this is not only was it 3 injuries, or is it 3 injuries to 3 starters, basically, but two of those starters in Emili Silatulu and Matt Kalil aren't really that positive to the team in the first place.
Right.
They're just like, hey, we're going to have to deal with them. So then when you think about it like that, is like you're already losing bad and you're getting worse.
Yeah, and then now we're hearing reports that Taylor Moton is being moved around. So, okay, he started as a backup to Daryl Williams. Daryl goes down, and now he's the right tackle.
Which he's
now
played great. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's what I'm about to say. Now they moved him to left tackle, and according to reports, he's playing pretty well there too, man. Taylor Moton may have been he might have been a diamond in the rough pick by David Gettleman there.
We needed it. We needed it.
Yeah, we really did. We needed two more of them, to be honest. But I'm telling you, man, it's I really am. What I'm hopeful for is that maybe if Daryl Williams can come back, he might have a little bit of rust, but maybe you put Daryl on the right side, Taylor Moton on the left side.
Well, where I'm at is from the way I heard these injuries presented to me, is that we'd be lucky if we had Daryl Williams back by week 6. We'd be lucky. That's what I thought. So while I'm rooting for him to come back, at the same time, I can only be so heartened by the idea of a guy who just suffered a really significant kind of knee sprain, which he had his first year, ultimately, coming back and being as good as he was, or even close to that. So it's not that I don't want him back. It's just like how much can you count on this point a guy returning from injury and saving the day?
I don't know, man. It's tough. It also depends.
Yeah,
I don't know if it can either. It also depends on what our record is at that point. So if you said week 6, that would be at Washington, October 14th. So that's only 4 games gone in the books. You still have the rest of the season. So maybe it's not as bad, and especially if you're hearing Ron say he's moving around at the practice fields already. I mean, maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was.
I always feel like this is, he said there's no timetable, and when there is a timetable, it's always longer than their timetable in reality. They told us Cam Newton. Remember when Cam Newton had his ankle surgery in 2014, and they said, oh, it's going to be 30 days or 6 weeks, and then 6 months later, still problematic.
As I'm telling you, man, Ron Rivera feels no obligation to tell you the truth about what these players are going for. Right. You better not ask. You might draw back a nub.
So I think, yeah, exactly. So I think this is kind of dire. In fact, I'm working on something right now to go on the website. It's on the precipice of being like an unmitigated disaster. And I hate to be dramatic like that. But at the same time, is that I don't think we can continue with the attitude the answer is on the roster.
Right.
I think the answer is on the roster because it has to be, but you better adjust that damn roster at some point. Cuts are coming, and I'm not saying you got to get somebody great. I'm saying you better devote your heart and soul in this when they slim down the rosters from 90 to 53 and getting some guys that can compete. Or go out there on the field and be more than a big dumb bag, sack of rocks, right? They have to also consider. I think the solution, my personal thing, if I was the GM, if I was Marty Hurney, and this is actually here's Ron Rivera asked about what Marty Hurney and the thought was.
That said, is it safe to assume that Marty and Matt Allen and those folks will be keeping an eye out for any available veterans?
Well, I'll just say this. I know they're busy, because again, you just never know what's going to happen from this point, and we have no time frame really for Meany. We have no time frame for Matt. We have no time frame for Daryl. I mean, for the most part, Meany's been day by day. Daryl and Matt are probably week by week. We'll see and we'll evaluate each time.
Okay, so the chat room has brought up the first thing that people say when I say this right now. and it says this. It says, is there anyone, Alex McKenzie says, is there anyone on the market who can help us? I know we'll probably at least look at some depth pieces after cuts. J-Dub says, you think 31 teams just going to leave out a good left tackle on the market? No. The left tackle market is very thin. There's a reason why a guy like Matt Kalil got paid. Okay. Mm-hmm. All valid points. But if you're a GM, that can't be the thing. That's always the case. That's always the case, right? Is that good players aren't just usually let go. There's two things that, maybe a good player is let go, an aging veteran because of their contract status. So that's potentially something. Maybe you see somebody win, that they're impressed in camp with somebody a little bit more than they expected to be. And it's a way for them to shave and make another player happy. But here's my idea, is that, yes, targeting a left tackle in free agency is really almost unrealistic at this point. But what if Moton is good enough to play left tackle and we target somebody who is serviceable at right tackle?
Go ahead, Joe.
So to bridge the gap, Joey, you got Joey Williams coming.
I got what you're saying. I really do. I think in this case,
there's got to be one we could trade for. Somebody we could trade for and do something that is right. Mike Rimmer's.
I don't doubt that. The question is, do we have what that person trading the tackle? Do we have something they want? We can talk about giving away whatever, but it depends on what our trade partner is wanting.
And they're in position to take advantage of us because they know that if our season depends on a serviceable right tackle, all right, well, that's probably going to cost you a second round this year and maybe a fourth round next year.
I think our best bet is to move the Moton Mountain. Right, Moton Mountain. Move him.
Moton by Moton Mountain. Sorry.
Move him to left tackle and then look amongst the cast-offs after the team's cut down to the right roster size. And that's where you're going to hope to find, that's where you're going to find your Andrew Norwell.
Is it possible, if that doesn't work, is it possible, though, as we get maybe into week 1, week 2, somebody else finds themselves in a predicament that doesn't make it so they can hold us hostage over giving
I would think so, yes. That could potentially happen. There is a chance.
Like maybe Dallas after we play them. Dallas has no speed at wide receiver right now.
Right.
A Curtis Samuel, a Damiere Byrd potentially could make an impact on their team and a draft pick, and maybe you get one of their guys.
Man,
what about Curtis Samuel and
Vernon Butler?
That's another rider.
You're giving away a ton.
I'm talking about Smith.
Torrey Smith?
Yeah.
I don't think they do that. I think Ron likes that veteran receiver in the locker room.
I know.
But maybe Jarris Wright steps into that role.
Partner comes asking.
Yeah.
Are you willing to make that move?
So then who are they giving us, though? The guy from LSU, I forget his name right now.
Lyle Collins?
Lyle Collins.
I'll do that right this second.
Yeah, if they give us Lyle Collins, then maybe we might consider it. But, I mean, I don't know.
They only got him. See, we should have had Lyle Collins. That was in the draft where he got his name associated with a murder that had nothing. It was the most inadvertent, he used to date the girl, and it was it was so silly. He was a number 1 draft pick, and he went in the 6th. I'm telling you, the Panthers should have drafted him in the 3rd. But it was all around the Greg Hardy. I'm going to tell you this. They're a bunch of scared. It's all PR. It's all PR, man.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't want. all that Jerry Rich, man. And then how about this? All of that. Think about that. You're like, we can't mess with a Leo Collins because it might tarnish our reputation. And then my man sells the damn team in shame the next year.
Yeah.
And hey, that's a good point, man. I mean, we're in the midst of the David Tepper era, so maybe some things that were off limits to us in the past, they might not be now. You know, you don't win with Boy Scouts, man.
I think this is my last point. Here's Ryan Kalil on his talking about his brother.
Yeah, I talked to him before he went in, and obviously he was bummed, but they sound pretty optimistic.
We're bummed
that
too.
We'll get him sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine he was more
focuses on
than
who the next guy's going to be, and that's Taylor, and he's doing a great job.
I tell you, you know what is better than getting beat like a drum on Sundays by and making $55 million total?
Yeah.
Is not getting beat like a drum, sitting at your house watching the game and getting paid $55 million.
Amen to that.
Good God.
Yeah. Well, I think this is the last year that we could part ways with Matt Kalil without it having to cost an arm
I
and
think
a
it's
leg.
next year. I think still, is that next year it's still going to cost? I'll look up his contract right now.
I thought it was the first 2 years, and then that way it's like, because he had an injury history, so it gave us an out. If he made it to the 3rd year, then we owed him.
That might be. You might be right.
Then we owed him the whole farm.
All right. So what I do want to say, good news is that Jones gonna send me a message probably and be like, all y'all doing is being sad. There's so many good things we could be talking about. There's a lot of people that are gonna say, and you hear it on the Mac. You heard Kevin Donnelly this morning on Mac Tech say, like, you got to be positive, guys, or maybe it was yesterday. More positivity. If you cut him today, you would have $20 million in dead money. And $13 million in cap savings. Next year, you only save $1 million. Let's see. Yeah, next year, if he's cut, you only save $1.8 million. You still have $14 million against the cap. Dead money.
So then this year is the year that he would have to be cut, right?
Is this. You're right. Is that Matt Kalil, see you later. You're no longer a Carolina Panther after this season. You can
we might want
about that.
We might want to cut that. And how many people feel like we just signed Matt Kalil because it was Ryan's brother?
I don't feel. I think that had some of it, Joey. But I think it really had to do with this, Joe. Is that like we just had tried to piecemeal left tackle, and you had to try something. You just had to try something, even if it didn't work. And this was the only thing. It was this or Russell Okung.
No, well, maybe we made the wrong choice.
Maybe. Last thing to mention about this, and this goes to you, to Joan, and the people that need me in the positivity camp. The silver lining to all those reporters that said, is there a silver lining in this? Is there a silver lining? It was like an echo out there. The silver lining is, if there's one quarterback that could actually work with this ridiculous situation, this pending on unmitigated disaster, it's Cam Newton. He's the only one he's the only quarterback in the whole NFL that can survive us going, well, we couldn't get anybody on waivers. We couldn't make a trade. So Taylor Moton and Brandon Mann or whatever, or Greg Van Roten are going to save the day. He's the only one. If you put somebody else like Matt Ryan there, done. You put who's the guy that's in Arizona right now? The Stafford. Not Stafford. Who's the guy that used to play for the Rams?
From Oklahoma.
Yeah, and he played for the Eagles. Then he was traded to.
Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford. You put him there, done, dead. Might as well plan the man's funeral.
I mean, he might be dead already, man. Someone cast a spell on that dude to keep him walking, man.
So, Cam Newton is the only person. You know what? Is that we still have a chance. That's my point. Is that's where you got to be excited. This is where Cam's value only shows even more. Is that we still have a chance. It's kind of like, do you remember Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
Do I?
Do I? I live it. No.
Dare I say that's a dumb question.
So do you remember when he finally gives the girl the like at the end of the movie the whole the case, the briefcase, where it was what was it? It was the name of the brief. He thought that lady's last name was the name of the briefcase, like Sam, whatever it was. It wasn't Samsung, but Samsonite. That's what it was.
Yeah,
but my favorite part about that is when the case busts open, and it's full of IOUs. And it flies all over the place. And he holds up that IOU for like the Ferrari or the Lamborghini, and he's like, 375,000. You may want to hold on to that one. Is that, you know, when I'm thinking of Dumb and Dumber, I think of the line, so you're telling me 1 in 1,000? No. 1 in 10,000? No. 1 in 1,000,000? So you're telling me there's a chance. That's Cam Newton for us. He is our chance. So that's the good news there. All right, guys, we got a ton more to talk about. Let's jump into the cat calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey y'all, how's everybody doing tonight? This is the #1 Panther, the #1 Carolina Panther fan, G. Cavassier. Hey, I'm watching this preseason game right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Drinking a beer right now, watching this game. Hey, man, this dude Heineke from Old Dominion University, which is like 20 minutes from where I live at right now in Virginia. I'm about to make a predicament right now, and it might be wrong, but to me, it seems like he has a little bit Jake De La Home in him. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is the backup, you know, but that dude, just like Jake, he has a good arm on him, man. That's one thing about Jake De La Home. That dude had a good arm on him, and he's mobile. Yeah. You know, Jake wasn't mobile at all.
None.
If y'all remember, you know what I'm saying? Jake De La Home, the Raging Cajun or whatever, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't mobile, but this Heineke dude coming fresh out of Old Dominion University in Virginia. You know, I'm up here because I was in the military. Y'all know I'm originally from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Now I know stand up, you know what I'm saying? But to me, Heineke is showing me more than the second string quarterback. I forgot his name.
His name
not tip
is
of my tongue, but this dude, the pass that he made to Curtis
Gilbert.
Samuel was amazing. And Curtis Samuel is showing me something.
I agree.
He really is. I mean, coming back off that injury,
this
great. Dude is showing me something, man. You know, and Cap just made a touchdown. I'm looking at it right now. He just made a rushing touchdown. And it seems like when Cameron Artis-Payne makes a touchdown, it seems like he's not happy. You know, he always seems like it was so easy and this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course he ain't happy.
So,
he can't see the
give
damn
you guys'
field.
opinion on
He's only going to get touchdowns in the preseason.
Keep pounding. Now I want to know to the day I die, baby.
Word up.
Yeah, baby. Represent G.
That's G. Cavassier, one of the strongest callers on the C3 podcast. It's Cat Calls Line. The number's 252-228-5098. Joe Riolano, you know a little bit about that old Jacksonville stomping ground, don't you?
Oh yeah.
What do they call DeVille?
Yes, they call it DeVille. That's right.
Yeah. So, gee, that's a great call. I like this. Is a couple of things is that I've liked the Garrett Gilbert guys since last year. Much of my kind of fondness for him was based on what he did last year in the preseason. But I think you're onto something. This Heineke guy isn't terrible, right? And he was in Minnesota while North Turner was there. So he brings you a little bit of he almost brings a little college game to the NFL. Little guy out there running around. Kind of reminds me of like what Johnny Manziel was able to not to the level that Johnny Manziel did, but that guy that had enough in the arm to do what you needed to do, but also could move around enough to keep himself alive. Right. So you like that, and I think the most important thing or the most relevant thing that we'll see, boy, Curtis Samuel, what a heart in that kid. The heart in that kid to come back from those injuries, to have that, to us, to have people continuously say, is this kid made of glass? Is this? And boy, he lays it out there every play. Every single play on special teams. I've been much encouraged by Curtis Samuel. I think the only discouraging thing is that, boy, that hurts my man Damir's Bird chances. And how do you use all these guys at the same time? That's the only other thing is that, and that's a good problem to have. How excited have you guys been about Curtis Samuel?
Well, man, listen, I'll tell you this. I was one of the people that got really upset when Panthers fans were ready to give up on him after 1 year, trying to say he was injury prone. It's like, come on, man, give the kid a break. Antonio Brown had a bad first year in the NFL too, man. Listen, I always said that my comparison for Curtis Samuel was Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking really fast, compact body. He can go downfield. He can get the long ball. You can put him in the slot. I mean, he's versatile, man. And look, now that we don't know what an offensive line is like, you want those receivers that are going to be able to cut real fast and be able to look back at the quarterback like I feel Curtis and Christian McCaffrey are going to do a lot of. You're going to need weapons like that. And you're going to need Damir Bird, man. So, I mean, this offensive line, the situation bodes well for him too. But I think the sky is the limit for Curtis Samuel. I think his potential might be just as much as DJ Moore. I know that might be a little bit controversial, but he has a very high athletic profile. You have not seen the best out of Curtis Samuel.
I was really excited about I was excited about Curtis Samuel as a draft pick last year. We probably had our expectations set a little high, and then you get nicked up and you have an injury and then all that. It certainly wasn't time to give up on him. The thing that is scary to me, in a good way, is the thought of DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel out there together. That's a really nasty, and I think what we're seeing is that the idea that like you have to be able to just win in one way or another, is that you either win with your physicality or you win with your athleticism. But with those guys, man, they have a little mixture of both. DJ Moore probably a hair more on the physicality than Curtis Samuel could be. But these guys could really cause you problems. I think of this is that it's really, to me, reminiscent of Steve Smith in a way. And that is that they're just physical enough to play bigger than their size. Joey, I think that when I look at Curtis Samuel run, he takes these little steps. Like he's like these little, like watch him next time. His stride is very compact. It looks like a little Sonic the Hedgehog out there. I mean, they are just a rolling. Joey, you got to be heartened by the. How do you go? What a strange thing. You go from this, as you go for an offensive line that was decimated, and then you went from a team that had no wide receiving core to one where we don't know what to do with the one we got.
Yeah, that's great to have an abundance of talent where we do. For so long, we wanted Cam to have receivers that were dependable and receivers that had some speed. And now we have that in spades. So it is absolutely encouraging that, we have a weapon in our receiver corps. And like
a coordinator that knows what to do with them.
What to do. And it's like you said, man, with this offensive line being a walking disaster at this moment, we have the one quarterback that's capable of overcoming that. And with the talent he has at wide receiver and even running back, we could be a major problem for some teams.
I tell you one thing, wouldn't it be hard if we were as slow as we were in 2016 and 2017?
To try to compete? Yes.
Because with that offensive line, the blessing right here is your wide receiver core got better, but it got faster. And we're going to need to be doing some things, and Christian McCaffrey is part of this, to where it's about the ball coming out quick, not because Cam holds on to the ball. He does do that at sometimes. But what I'm talking about is that you also have the ability to get the ball out quick. You have 2 or 3 guys that take 3 or 4 steps and they're moving already. So I think that's going to be a big help. So to me, Curtis Samuel is the story of that call. Way to go, G. Cavassier.
Hang around, boys and girls. It's your boy, J-Dub.
J-Dub.
Now, as you all know, we have a beautiful thing going on in Carolina. We have Cam Newton, a new offensive coordinator, all these new weapons, and everything galore. Everything you could ever want. But you have to look around and be careful, stay on point, because certain people want to take this away. They want to take this division from us, and we don't want that. So you got to be careful and watch your back, because you never know who's ready to sack and kill Cam. It could be Cameron Jordan. It could be Vic Beasley. It could be JPP.
Oh, my
God. The Bucs. It could be
scary.
All kinds of people every single week. But have no fear. We have an offensive line. Oh, but not Matt Kalil. Matt Khalil's still here. So we're probably going to get destroyed. It doesn't even matter. So make sure that you save all your pennies so we can build up a fund, GoMe fund, so maybe we can go buy someone who can actually block. I had it all idea to go way better with this, but I'm just frustrated as hell. Got news today, breaking news, that Matt Kalil is going to see James Andrews. That is one of the leading sports surgeons for ligaments in the knee. He's the guy who scoped Matt Kalil's both of his knees in 2015. He's going to see him, which is not a good sign. That means he could be going under the knife again. I see a lot of fans like, we need to trade him. We need to cut him. Nobody wants him. Ain't nobody can take that contract. Trading going to happen. You can cut him. Yeah, they can't afford that either. It's not economically reasonable. Unless we're just going to eat it. I mean, the best thing I can see is that he'd be designated to retire, hopefully, which I don't really see that happen. Why would he just sit around and make money? I don't know what's going to happen with this, but as much as we don't like him, losing Matt Kalil too isn't that great. Like, both tackles and a left guard, I mean, we could lose the season before it even starts. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just a realist. Like, if we don't have an O-line, it doesn't matter how many weapons and what system we put in. And we don't really have any money to spend to do anything. I mean, we'd have to make significant cuts on this team to even come close to getting anybody. And if we try to trade for anybody, everyone knows we need it so bad they're going to try to get us. So boys and girls, it's kind of a horror story. That's kind of how I was going to go with all that. I didn't really practice, and sorry if it was bad, but
no, it was phenomenal.
Matt Kalil, as much as I don't like you and just figuring you're going to be gone next year, could you get healthy and at least see what we got so we know, or at least try to earn some of that, a lot more money than you deserve?
Impressive. Finish him.
Gosh, I mean, he was just coming out there like it was just throwing the death blows out there.
Man,
what a call.
Man.
What a call, man.
And you know what? Nothing he said was anything other than the truth, man.
That's the truth, yeah.
We had already touched on all those points.
Yeah, and then the best part about it is that he's talking. I thought when he originally was in the call that he was talking about like just post game. You know, like that call could have been made on Friday or Saturday, and then you know, like how he was talking about the, you know, like, oh, like this is what Matt Kalil we got, and then, boy, you know what? He's hit. It's even worse. It's even worse than that.
It is even worse.
Some crazy news in the chat room. Thank you, Heartbeat of a Lion. Totally did not do the draft order for the Rucker League.
Oh man.
Oh Madonna.
Yeah, I remember I said it. And you're like, no, we did that one. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, here we're gonna do. We're gonna bust out super quick. Here it is. Here's the sequence. Pick number 1 goes to Team Mac Newton. Pick number 2 goes to Pool Sharks, Jason Godfrey. Pick number 3 goes to number 10. That is Vegas Panthers. He's been in the league since the beginning. Pick number 4 goes to Lynn's son, an imposter. He's an imposter because he's a Dallas Cowboys fan in our league, but we're glad to have him. Hide and Zeke is his name.
That's pretty good.
You know what? If we didn't love your mom, you would be in big trouble. Pick number 5 goes to that's my DJ. That's Brandon Truesdale. He's been in the beginning since the beginning, and boy, that man is the nicest dude you ever meet. Pick number 6 goes to Team Tyler George. Pick number 7 goes to number 7. Keeked right in the peppers. I like that one. Keeked right in the peppers. Pick number 8 goes to DJ Play That Function Music. That would be the C3 team. Pick number 9 goes to Love the Shack Baby. And pick number 10 goes to number 9, which is Dubtown Cats. And pick number 11 goes to Cameron Curry. And pick number 12 goes to Cam Bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's a good one. Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am. All right. The winner of the T-shirt. My vote goes for this, guys, is Keeked right in the peppers or Cam Bam. Thank you.
I like hide and Zeke.
Hide and Zeke? You like that?
Yeah, I like that one.
What? You're the tiebreaker, Cody.
Oh man, if I'm just being honest, man, I gotta go Keeked right in the peppers, man.
Of course.
Because it's kind of ambiguous. You don't know really I like it, man. I like it.
All right, I like it. All right, that's the winner of the T-shirt because I agree with that. All right, we got a couple more. We got another cat call to get into, so let's see what we got next.
Hey guys, love what you're doing. We want to talk about the offensive line a little bit. Honestly, I think the Panthers might come out better from the Kalil injury. It sucks to have injuries and all that, but he had an awful preseason 2 game. And honestly, I think you move Tyler Moton to the left tackle spot and we plug somebody in at right tackle, I think we might be better for it. Tyler Moton showed that he can handle it. And hopefully give Cam enough time to find those receivers. I think overall they're going to be okay. Matt Kalil isn't really doing a whole lot for us anyway.
All right, interesting take there. Thanks for the call. The number's 252-228-5098. Guys, addition by subtraction. How could you sit Matt Kalil even if somebody was competing? Taylor Moton could be a good answer, a good solution at left tackle. But for me, the only reason I can't just try to be heartened by that comment is it's the culmination of these injuries that's problematic, not a individual injury.
Well, and I want to bring something up too. I remember Andrew Norwell probably would not have gotten his chance to start if it wasn't for Manny Silatoto getting hurt in the first place. I mean, honestly, I know we all love Ron, but he kind of has that, we're going to go with our guy that knows the system type of mentality. And
True.
Honestly, if a Manny wouldn't have gotten hurt, who knows if we would have gotten to see how incredible Andrew Norwell really was, So, I mean, listen, it's one thing to say, oh, man, there's no way you're ever going to chance into another scenario where you happen into another fantastic player like that. But, man, these guys are hungry. They want to be NFL players, man. Now, if they can do it or not, that's up to them. But these are the kinds of moments that these players live for. They say you're always one injury away from being a starter. There's no such thing as a backup. So, I mean, I like the optimism, even though the chances of it happening another time like that are low. Maybe the guy is on the roster, man. That would certainly be something magical for us.
I think Taylor Moton, I think if the good news, if anything, is good news for this is Taylor Moton, I think, has the chops to play left tackle. The second good news for Taylor Moton is that because of this, he could become a left tackle, and that gets paid like $10 million more than a right tackle does.
Yeah.
So that's the good news for Taylor Moton is he was worried. He was like, damn it, I got to compete for this guard position. I saw this today, and I didn't really agree with it. Max Henson from the Carolina Panthers, who's been on the show before, who has always been pretty cordial, but won't DM me back right now about getting on the show in a second time. Sorry. Max Henson said this, is that Taylor Moton goes from competing for left guard position to starting at right guard to now at left guard, bouncing around right. I don't think Carolina ever wanted Moton at left guard. I never felt like he was really in competition for that position, not because he couldn't win it.
No.
I just didn't ever really think, even when they said that. I felt like when we were saying Moton should be guard, he's best out of this group. People are like, nah, he's not really. He's there to play tackle. Am I out of line there?
No, I don't think so. I think you're dead on.
I mean, I remember I was shouting at the top of my lungs for him to play the left guard spot, especially if we were going to have Darrell Williams and if we were going to spin the wheels on Matt Kalil for another year. But now that those positions are in flux, I mean, yeah, now not only does he seem like the guy, but yeah, it never did seem like they ever had any real interest in drafting him to be a guard. They wanted him to either play right tackle or left tackle.
Right.
Yeah. All right, last cat call for the night. What great calls tonight.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy, the Black Cat, Brandon Herbert, and I'm just going to make it pretty quick tonight. There's a couple of topics that I want to discuss, and this one is probably going to not go over well or anything really, but I listened to our game or whatever, the Panther broadcast. That one was fine. I actually like the commentators with Mike Rucker and everything. He's actually pretty good and everything like that. Have y'all ever listened to the radio version? Now, I'm a Panther fan, and I don't mind them being a little bit biased, but I forgot the black guy's name, the other black guy's name. He gets kind of, he be saying some crazy stuff.
Eugene.
Like,
it's Eugene.
I don't really too much care for the radio broadcast version of the,
I like
of it, because, yeah, you're supposed to be biased towards the team, but he doesn't try to hide that bias. And it's not, it makes it, not, that great of a listen to because of some of the stuff he says. But like I said, that's just my opinion. I know that we don't really talk about stuff like that, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Secondly, and real quick, Curtis Samuel, I do want to mention and I think he's a sleeper. Like, everybody's fascinated with DJ Moore and different things like that, which DJ Moore is awesome. Torrey Smith, you have a pretty good amount of weapons, but don't sleep on Curtis Samuel because Curtis Samuel has been having an excellent camp. in the preseason, he's been balling out. I know it's just preseason, but he's been balling out, and it's not just, he's making the catches. He's making, like, really good catches. He's been, catching deep balls, what we wanted off him last year. He looks like he's going to be that this year. So just let me know what you think. And like I said, great job, guys. And I'll talk to you next week.
Congrats to Brandon Herbert for winning the autographed Christian McCaffrey jersey in the C3 Fantasy Football Championship.
Yeah, man, congratulations, dude. Okay, so can I ask a question of both of you? What is your opinion on Mick Mixon? Because my thing is, Mick Mixon is kind of hilarious because he says some truly dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I swear, every preseason, he mentions Ron Rivera's ample chest.
Ample,
and,
robust.
Yeah, his
glorious.
Ample chest.
It's glorious.
And his broad shoulders. But then sometimes, like, man, okay, on that Christian McCaffrey play where he ran 72 yards, a beautiful run. I mean, absolutely awesome. But, man, the call was just so boring, man. Mick had no life in him. Like, it was just a dead call, man. But everyone else was hyped about it. But I don't know. I want to know y'all's opinion on Mick Mixon.
Joe, you heard this this take from Mick Mixon right here? Hold on.
Remember when we would go swimming in the creek? Remember when we go in the water? I remember we would get to the creek and you would dip your hair in the water and you come up and you shake it like that and your hair would lay right over your right eye. You had that good hair.
God, dude.
Everybody had thought you had Indian in your family. The fuck are you saying, man? I remember how you would just dip your body in the water and you would come up where water would just glisten all over your body. What did you say? Water would glisten all over your body.
It's Mick Mixon on Ron Rivera at the swimming pool.
I don't know where you pulled this shit from, dude.
That's Martin Lawrence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was awesome,
that
man.
Was the one where he wore the black. What was that one? That was his best stand-up. That was his best stand-up.
Was that Run Tell That?
No, I think it was before that. It was like Meet Martin. What was that one? Let me see if it doesn't say it in the comments.
Look, point being, Mick Mixon is a weird ass dude. All right, man.
Yeah, I mean,
did y'all even catch?
He does say some off the wall stuff. Yes.
I think this is that I like Mick. He's trying to be descriptive.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like he's almost also writing those novels that you
erotica.
Like, yeah, the ones that have Fabio on each cover.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Ron Rivera folds his arms over his ample chest as the sun glistens off his sweat on his forehead. And
man, his muscles.
Water would glisten all over your body.
Water would glisten all over your body. All right. So Mick Mixon. I like Eugene. Like, here's the thing, Joe. You know me. Is that like if you go down like Eugene did the night before the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to hang out with you.
Right.
I ain't trying to dump on you.
We're trying to have some beers. We're trying to tell some stories.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to hang out with the football player, have a good time the night before the Super Bowl. No.
Yeah, man. I like Eugene.
Yeah, I like. No, I'm down on that. I'm down on the Panthers broadcast for the most part. Like, I don't got a problem with any of it. I've been happy. Mick Mixon is. See, here's the thing with Mick Mixon is that the people that don't like him is because he's not animated enough. Right. The people that also don't like him is when he does try to be animated, it's just so descriptive. The sun rises on the eastern horizon. It's just like he's like painting a picture like a novelist. I think that's the issue there. All right, Guys, we got to go to now. Still a lot to talk about. Thank you for tuning in to the C3 Panthers podcast. We're here every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. You can follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. You can be a part of the show by participating in the YouTube chat. Thank you to J-Dub, Lynn, to Heartbeat of a Lion, to all the people who, Alex McKenzie, thank you for being a part of the show tonight. You can also jump in on the calls on the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. And you can really help us by turning your phone to portrait mode right now and smashing that thumbs up button. It's a small thing that goes a long way. Consider sharing the show with a friend and telling somebody about the #1 Panthers podcast that comes every week, no matter if you like it or not. And if you really are feeling frisky and froggish, you can check out that Patreon link below. All right, we got to talk about this. As the Panthers played their second preseason game, they are 2-0 in the preseason. And I would have to say I wrote my most scathing review of Cam Newton on the website in the history of Carolina Cat Chronicles. And I wasn't trying to be mean. I just am comfortable enough with Cam Newton and how good he is to say I know Cam Newton can be better than he was in that game.
Yep.
Here's the thing is I would say that if I didn't know about these injuries from the Carolina Panthers that we're dealing with, and we've talked so long and ad nauseum in this show, I would be very optimistic about where the Carolina Panthers are at. You saw Christian McCaffrey explode in this game, used multiple times, not just on the 71-yard run, but a real force to be reckoned with in multiple ways. You saw Curtis Samuel have a great game. You saw C.J. Anderson continue to plug away. Cam Newton looks pretty good, except for those momentary lapses where he doesn't. And I have to say the defense looked much improved from last week because we got to see more of it, what it looks in true form. So after we've just cried and moaned for like 45 minutes, Joey, we have to be. Anyways, I'm really optimistic about the talent. I think that's why I'm so saddened about the condition of the offensive line.
Yeah, I think you're right. If our line was just mediocre, the offensive unit to be so dynamic, to be spectacularly dynamic. But with the offensive line issues, that will be something of a pair of cement shoes, if you will. We will struggle at times in protecting Cam, and that's something that we will have to deal with until our line gets it together. So hopefully we can combat that with a very focused running game.
Yeah, a formidable one.
Yeah, a formidable one, and we have to focus on sticking with it. As long as, it's working, we gotta keep pounding the rock. And that will help Cam in the long run.
Definitely. Cody, how do you feel coming out of that? I mean, I believe you're optimistic, I would think, if we just aren't talking about that offensive line.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I mean, we're going to have some tough decisions to make, man, because I feel like generally every one of the running backs that we put on the field, they made a difference, man. Elijah Hood, I believe Elijah Hood got a touchdown. Yeah, Elijah Hood got a touchdown. Cameron Artis-Payton got a touchdown. I mean, we put some guys out there, and they went to work, man. We have some tough decisions to make at wide receiver. Listen, man, like I told you guys, I love Dante Jackson. And that's another guy, by the way, that if you didn't watch him, you didn't know that he had a standout game, but he did, man. Dante Jackson was flying around the field. He was on his man, and he did not let him go. So I'm loving Dante. But the guy I'm really impressed with on our first preseason game and the most recent one, it was our new tight end, man, Ian Thomas.
Oh, and my goodness. What a big step. From week 1 to week 2, notable improvement, and not that he was bad in week 1.
I know, and listen, we all remember how good Cam Newton was when he had Greg Olsen and Jeremy Shockey way back in the start of his career. Listen, man, when you can run 2 tight end sets, that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for, what you're able to do on offense. It opens up the playbook a little bit more. He looks like he might be a steal on offense. And I think that's going to be someone that's really going to put in a lot of work for us this year that people might not have been looking at before. But this preseason has really shown us that Ian Thomas has the potential to be a very real weapon for us.
With Ian Thomas, one of the things I said last week that I was, I was excited about him as a prospect, but also trying to caution people about how good he could be in his first year, had a lot to do with blocking.
Yeah.
He had a good game at that aspect. So I like to see him improving there, understanding kind of like the ferociousness. Maybe he's got to deal with that, or maybe it's not a mental thing. Maybe he's just doing it once or twice more. But a couple of things to point out. One is Matt Kalil was struggling, so they're bringing a lot of help to the left side. And two, Ian Thomas is also showing that he is important in the way, and that these people are excited about him. He played the most offensive snaps out of any player except for Brandon Mahone, tied with Brandon Mahone, some guy named K. Friend, who was the center for the last half of the game. 58% of the snaps, played 5 on special teams. It not only do the Panthers look like they're excited about him, they look like they're trying to immediately work him into this team and to this offense. This is unlike when we've had a guy like a Brandon Williams, remember, Swole Bones, or some of these other guys that we have been hoping that could emerge as a talent one day. It seems like they already know Ian Thomas is a talent, and they're ready to integrate him into the system.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think this kid can play, and having a second tight end that's as versatile as he is too valuable to keep on the sideline.
Yeah. J-Dub likes him. It's because he's around his stomping grounds. He said he's a dog. I think the big dog in this game, though, was Christian McCaffrey. Boy, did we see what Christian McCaffrey could be. And, look, this is 2 weeks in a row. It's preseason. These guys have not held back with Christian McCaffrey. It's exciting to see a guy that you can get the ball in his hands. He can make really something happen. I mean, 71-yard touchdown run. Cam Newton didn't even know what to do with that. He was like, man, people do this other than me. It was amazing.
He even said in his post press conference that Christian bailed him out a few times. Not only on that run, but just getting those under routes and just being that check down receiver. That is going to be Cam's best friend for a long time to come, Christian McCaffrey. And also,
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give credit where credit is due real quick to Greg Van Roten. And this is the guy that I'm thinking might potentially be a starter at the left guard position. He has looked impressive. Greg Van Roten had a great pull block on that run. He was able to pull kind of nice block on, I forget who it was, but he opened that lane for Christian McCaffrey to take off down the field. So credit where credit was due. And yeah, Christian, he can run between the tackles, man. You just have to give him a chance.
All right, Joe, I'm going to play a clip for you and about Cam Newton's game. I want you to respond. I'm going to step away for 2 seconds. You carry the conversation after this, and then I'll jump right back in when you and Cody are done, all right?
All right.
The way you wanted to, but you hit Ian for the touchdown.
I was going to be – still am, somewhat dissatisfied, but at the end of the day, bouncing back and finishing on a good note is important. I think it affects sleep, on a good note. Not only that, just knowing that the mistakes that was made is, we are not far off, and that's the optimism of it. But at the end of the day, we still have a long way to go. And little things, and coaches always said, perfect the small stuff, and the big plays or the spectacular plays will happen.
And where would you say you are right now in terms of the Norvell
I think that's it.
Oh, okay. I think he's right. I think the mistakes that we made are easily correctable. They're just mental things that, lapses in judgment. I think someone used the term meat on the bone. And that's how I look at this offense so far. We had moments where we looked dynamic, but at the same time, we've had moments where, hey, we could have done that better. Or, hey, we left some plays out there on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like we haven't even gotten to the point where our offense is really gelling yet. I mean, it's only preseason. That's to be expected.
Right.
But, it's like right now you're seeing flashes of what this offense has the potential to do. But, once we get into a rhythm, I really don't think this entire preseason Cam has hit DJ Moore. Every DJ Moore catch has been from either Garrett Gilbert or Taylor Heineke or whatever. Yeah, we have a lot of room left to go, and I definitely agree with Cam Newton on that point. Listen, this offense has the potential to sizzle. And, I even put this on Twitter. One of the reasons why I'm not worried about Cam throwing that interception to Greg Olsen, even though he definitely didn't see that defender floating out there, and he definitely should have. Cam is a critic of his own self, man. He knows that he has to be better, and he's looking over the film. He's looking over these things, and he demands more of himself. Cam doesn't want to be another run-of-the-mill quarterback. He wants to be in the Hall of Fame. He wants to be an all-time great, and you're never going to get to that point unless you're a fanatic about your craft, and I genuinely feel Cam Newton is, man. So, we have to be hard on him like our man Brandon wants us to be, even though he doesn't think we're hard on him enough. But, Cam Newton's going to be all right, and this offense has a ton of potential.
Guys, this is where I am on this Cam Newton thing. Is that, first of all, there isn't a greater defender of Cam Newton than myself. And if there is, I commend you. I like you. Right? The point that I wrote this is the article was titled McCaffrey Sizzles, Matt Kalil Struggles, and Cam Newton yet to find his groove. This is what I wrote. Is Cam Newton's offensive game, however, wasn't entirely one-dimensional. Newton completed 9 of 12 passes for 179 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. At moments, Newton looked deadly, throwing lasers from the far left hash to the right sideline just over the corner's head, but under the safety coverage, landing precisely in Torrey Smith's hands. And then very next play, in the very next moment, Newton locked in on Greg Olsen over the middle, oblivious to a corner in a perfect position to intercept the ball. He did rebound in the second quarter and hit Ian Thomas in stride. So here's the point that I'm trying to make, or at least I want to imply, is to Brandon, is that I'm not really being hard on Cam Newton, and I am certainly not being as hard as you probably need me to be in this case, because I'm comfortable with what we're seeing from Cam Newton.
Yeah.
And that is that we know that it's not perfect at this point. But I think that overall Cam Newton has shown he hasn't put it all together yet. But what he has put together has been better has been as good as I expect in many ways. And I can take the idea. I'm comfortable enough saying that, hey, he missed 2 passes in the first game that were all on him. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with saying that interception 100% on him. But I'm also okay in saying this is I've seen a lot of good things out of Cam. The dumping off quickly. I would just say that I'm happy to hear him say that, look, I know I can be better. We know he can be better. And it's not a knock to say that.
Not at all, man. Not at all. And it was like I was saying when you left. Cam has become one of his own biggest critics, if not the biggest. He knows when he messes up like that. And I kind of think he was hitting those check downs a lot in that Dolphins game, and he wanted to make a big connection. And if you actually look on that play, I think Christian was actually supposed to be the go-to guy on that play. He was wide open, and there weren't any defenders around him, but Cam just tried to force feed the ball where it didn't need to be. But through 2 games, Cam Newton has a 71% completion percentage. That ain't nothing to shake a stick at, boys. And I don't know if anyone tuned in to see Andrew Luck play last night, but yeah, let's just say Andrew Luck's going to have a long season ahead of him.
No, I've been very excited about what Cam Newton has shown to this point. Is that I guess where I'm being hard on him is it has nothing to do with him. Is, man, wait until we see it all. Wait until we see him hit his groove. If this isn't the groove, we've got a lot of things to be excited about. Another thing I think we got to be excited about, we got to celebrate on this podcast. Boy, will people talk about him when he puts the towel over his head. He doesn't do that anymore. Actually, he may still do it and tuck it in. But I feel like he's even getting away from that more and more. But they're going to talk junk about him when he's sulking after losing the Super Bowl. But what have you heard anybody talk about?
Playing at a high level right now, we can be extremely better, and it starts with practice, and it starts even with myself, knowing that there's a lot of things that was unacceptable on my part this week. I know I just got to be better, having practice habits. And it just carries over, and knowing that, we got a great team in New England coming in, and, we're ready to accept the challenge to sharpen iron.
So where this goes to what Cody's saying, he's a critic of himself, but you know what I like about his press conference after this? It wasn't too high or too low. And that's that's where Cam Newton has kind of been. Is he's a momentum guy. When he gets so high, he's high all the way in the clouds, and then you see him in the lowest of lows when he gets to himself. What I wrote down is this: Cam Newton shows maturity here. And I'm not saying this is where the Cam haters and I are different, is that I'm not saying he was immature before. What I'm saying is this: you continue to grow into yourself. You can continue to grow and mature. And I think we'll just continue to see Cam Newton do this. The idea that all this is going on around him, he didn't have the best game, he had an okay game. Other guys are being celebrated, and he's just saying this. Is like, there's things that were good that we can build upon. There's a lot of things we can continue to work on. That's the polished, that's the cue card response that people in the NFL have wanted from Cam, but suddenly they're missing and saying anything about it when he does say it.
Yeah, man. This whole, with the Kelvin Benjamin thing, for the past few years, he has shown his maturity and he's gone about things the right way. If you're still clinging on to the Cam Newton is immature, you're just a hater. Your name is probably Colin Cowherd, and we're not a fan of you anyway. So whatever, dude. Yeah. We know who our quarterback is.
It's the people that hate Cam Newton are the ones who bring up Scam Newton or stealing a laptop or those are the real Cam Newton haters. And Cam is so far different. He's vastly different than that guy. He's a completely different guy he was just 3-4 seasons ago.
And the thing that, Joey, people take wrong when you say things like that is that growing is like you were bad in the past.
Right.
No, is that this is we all grow. I don't think that I was a pretty sucky ass teenager. I had more fun than y'all did. I promise you that. I had a lot of damn fun, but I have a lot of regrets in a lot of ways. But I don't think my character was bad. Are there things I regret? Are there things that I would have handled differently? Certainly. But just because you're becoming mature and becoming better, more polished, becoming all of these, more comfortable with yourself, doesn't mean where you were coming from was bad either.
No, and listen, go ahead, Joey.
No, you're absolutely right, Tony. It's not that he was a bad person. He was just immature.
He was just young. It's not even
Right,
immature.
right.
He was just
When
young.
you're young and you don't have that maturity, you do stupid things.
And his stupid is a lot less stupid than all the other crap we put up from half the other people in the world.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly.
Keep in mind, Cam Newton is also now a husband. He's a father. You know, he has a lot more responsibilities than he used to, and you know, he still wants to be the best quarterback possible. I think this is Cam's 7th year in the NFL. Okay, so not to get too metaphysical or anything here, boys, but you literally don't have a cell in your body that is the same as it was 7 years ago.
He's a new man.
It is literally a new man. You are a new person every 7 years. People grow, people change.
That's why
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I wonder if that's why they say your taste buds change every 7 years.
Hey, probably, man. Probably. I don't know, man. I just know that you can't judge somebody based on who they once were.
Right.
You know, it's not
the
fair.
Totality of someone's life is not limited to one moment.
Not at all.
So you
man.
can't
not
say like, "Hey, you did this, so you are this. You did this, so that's a part of you, but not all of you."
And imagine if you had that many different spotlights on your life as Cam Newton has had on his life ever since he was a top quarterback prospect in Georgia in high school. You know, he's been in the public eye forever. Yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, man. That's how it happens. But that's not Cam Newton anymore. There is not anyone else I would want to be leading this franchise in 2018.
I think Norv Turner is going to have a lot to do with this. I think that Norv Turner, you've seen I saw Torrey Smith tweet about Norv Turner today. These guys respond to this guy. They respect him. They believe in him. They trust him. And this is about trust. And, you know, it's a perfect time to marry him with a Cam Newton. You know, is that if you can get a Cam Newton who hits that moment where he becomes even more coachable, but he becomes all these different things, he responds to that, like where he's not in this, and then you pair him with a guy that commands, that has that pedigree and all that, is that I think the sky's the limit here for the Carolina Panthers if we can just get through this damn offensive line. Now, if you go through another thing, though, you look at this game, when I look at this game and I look at the start 2-0, if you could take Matt Kalil out of the equation, and I didn't know he was hurt at this moment, I thought we were really good. If you could take Matt Kalil out of the equation, Taylor Moton played well, Trey Turner played well, we ran the ball with Christian McCaffrey, we threw the ball effectively. Cam Newton made one mistake, but overall he threw some great passes, but he also just threw some adequate passes where it worked. Like, it didn't need to be great. See, the problem with Cam Newton for so long is have required him to be great at every moment. You know, why can't Cam just be adequate at times and other guys be great? And I think we saw that. And then you switch to the defensive. I mean, I think you add in Ian Thomas, a lot of things to be excited about. I saw when someone mentioned in the comments, Alex Arma really continuing. You know, I mean, these types of things. Everything I looked at is I thought the Carolina Panthers are better from week 1 to week 2.
No doubt.
I was trying to factor in as how bad the Miami Dolphins are.
Right, they're pretty bad.
They're not very good. They are not good.
And they don't seem to be particularly well coached.
I have to agree.
I agree. That's a great point. Nothing looked great. Nothing looked great to me on their end. I think some sad things about this game. Obviously, Matt Kalil, we know his performance. Denoris Cersei comes in and lays the wood.
And gets a penalty.
Gets a penalty.
And gets flagged and a concussion.
And knocks himself out in the same time. It's like the trifecta of awfulness. You knock yourself out, you get a penalty, and now you're in concussion protocol. This does hurt. Because concussion, I mean, you never know. I'm to the point now where concussion protocol to me is a scary thing because these guys can get in it and never get out of it. Not never get out of it, but It's not a 2-week thing like it used to be 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, where you say, "Hey, concussion, 1 week out, 1 week no pads, back in the game." It could be 6 weeks. It could be 1 week.
Yeah, you never know. It affects everyone.
What happened to Blindside? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his career ended.
Oh, Michael Ward, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere.
He never came back to football.
No one even remembers when it happened to Michael Ward. It was like
I remember. It was that Vikings game.
Yeah, it was the Vikings game, but nobody remembers like what play it happened on. But
right, because he just went from being a player to being like just a mannequin out there. Like he was a shell.
And I did want to give some love. Maurice Carter Jr. in the chat says, "How about that Corn Elder, man? That interception that he got.
Yes. What a great point,
man.
How exciting was he?
Yeah, he played great, man. And that's another guy that we didn't get to see any of last year. And it feels like in both of these preseason games, he's come up and really made a difference for us. And that nickel corner, it's an important position. And I believe we have Captain Munderland maybe for another year or two. That's another aging player on the team right now. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have Corn Elder all of a sudden be a star on the team,
Joe, where I've been excited about this is a couple of places. In the past, I got excited about Demir Bird. I get excited about Cameron Artis-Payne. But those guys are third stringers, or at least that you're going to see in the second half of the game, that you expect to see at that part of the game, and you're excited when they play well. What's exciting to me about the Carolina Panthers right now is we're seeing like C.J. Anderson play in the third quarter. And not only is he with the threes in this case, because they kind of know what they got with him a little bit more, I think, because they've seen more of him. He's a veteran. But it's not that he deserves to be playing with the threes. It shows us, I think, that we're a little bit more talented. I think you see Curtis Samuel playing later. You see him, to me, I'm going to Corn Elder. The idea that we see Corn Elder do that late in the game, generally that indicates he's playing with the people that are the cruddy people in the lineup. At this point, it's just hard to cycle him in ahead of people. It's not a referendum on Corn Elder, and I think we continue to call his name out. I'm excited about that. And the only thing that I'm disappointed with at this point is I haven't heard anything from Golden. Not a thing.
Yeah, me neither, now that I think about it.
Like, that's the saddest part to me, is I was so excited about Golden. I haven't heard his name called once. I'm excited about Corn Elder. Disappointed in Golden.
Well, he came in and played a bunch when Cersei went down.
And maybe that's good news that we don't hear his name.
Right. I don't think he did anything spectacular, but at the same time, I don't remember him getting beat in any way.
Our defense was much improved from week 1 to week 2. Much improved.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, that, like I said to start, that score was not indicative of the football game, that 20-27. We did not give up a touchdown until late in the fourth quarter. I mean, we really need to – we haven't given that enough love, man. We're talking about our offense because that's where a lot of our new exciting, shiny toys are right now. But, man, that defense played well, man. They really did. That's really got me excited. I mean, because not only – are the starters playing well, but we have a lot of depth at some really important positions.
I think Ron was pissed that the defense gave up that touchdown late. He really probably shut out, I believe, or the no touchdown.
Dude, if we have a top 10 defense, man, it's on. And I don't see why we shouldn't. I mean, I think it all comes down to the secondary. But if it's possible to have a top 5 defense, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, All right, let's look at this. We've talked a little bit about the preseason. game, but we're heading into the dress rehearsal.
Yes,
that
very
being
important.
that, like, look, is that we're about to play the New England Patriots. So Bill Voth always says, don't get overexcited about anything, but then he'll drop this. We got the same record, the same preseason matchups we had in 2015. Yeah, so
I do think that's kind of weird, kind of coincidental. I don't know. Hey, whatever. It is what it is, man. So but it is the same.
We played the Patriots in 2015 in week 3 of the preseason, the dress rehearsal. Now we play them again. A lot of love being by the Panther reporters about playing the Patriots and like, oh, are you excited about playing New England? And Ron Rivera's like, oh, it's going to be a good test. I would think any team is a good test for us. I don't think we're going to get the full version of the Patriots, and that is that, like, they're only going to scheme for us so much. Where are you guys at going into this game? I actually think that we saw the dress rehearsal in week 2, personally. I think we saw enough out of the defense there. We saw enough. I would be a little bit more cautious with a couple of people than we had been in the past, specifically on that offensive line, specifically Cam Newton. But that's just me. Where are you guys thinking that this matchup against the Patriots is heading? What direction is it heading in? What are you going to be looking for?
You want to go first, Joey?
Yeah, I hope they treat this as a game, as like a regular season game. I expect to see Cam Newton versus Tom Brady for the first half. I expect to see both teams' first team defense in there for the first half. I want to treat this like a mini Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's like the opposite of what I was thinking.
I want to send that statement to Brady and the Patriots and the rest of the league that, hey, we're not the Carolina team you're used to.
Oh, I like it. I dig it. And I tell you one thing, wouldn't it be glorious to see Dontari Poe and all of his 346 pounds crash onto Tom Brady and his fragile ass old ass.
Just sit right on his face.
Yeah. Just muff rub his face.
Wow.
What do you want to see out of this game right here?
Yeah, so now what I want to see is the opposite of what I wanted to see going into the Miami game. So I was wanting to see if our offense could continue that pace that we started in Buffalo. Now going into New England, I'm trying to see how our defense looks. We've gone from Josh Allen to Ryan Tannehill
to Tom Brady.
Maybe the greatest quarterback of all time.
We went from two pieces. We went from a rookie that we had no idea about to a guy who's trash to a legend.
Yeah, to a living legend. So, I mean, yeah, listen, dude. So we have a lot of new pieces on our offense, on our defense, rather, in the backfield. And they have Rob Gronkowski. I believe they have Julian Edelman. That's going to be there. I mean, they have weapons. They're going to be able to move the ball. So that's going to be a test for our guys. Rashawn and Golden, who we mentioned, Dante Jackson. They're going to be tested,
Cody bringing the great take. What a great take this is.
I mean, listen, I'm a Dante Jackson fan, but I'm not sure Gronk on Dante would be a favorable matchup for poor Dante.
Nope.
No, I do not think that would be good at all. So listen, man, it all depends on our front seven getting pressure consistently and our backfield holding it down. Other than that, the Patriots defense doesn't really have a lot of standouts to me. They're never world beaters anyway. They always have that bend don't break mentality. But I mean, I'm just looking for our offense to be consistent, move the ball, run the ball, and I want our defense to be ferocious, man. I want our defense to go off and show them that this is a team that's built to contend right now.
J-Dub says Luke on Gronk. I say no. I say Shaq on Gronk. That's what I say. I think. All right. So Going back to that, you talk about the injury problems we've had. They lost Isaiah Wynn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge for them. And I liked him a lot.
They already had problems on their offensive line. They were expecting him maybe to step in and start. And then I haven't checked on it, but last I had heard, Sony Michel was having some knee scoping or something like that. And, I mean, this is weeks, and this is probably a month ago at this point. So I don't know where he's at. He could be back. He could not be back. So you got another team that's dealing with some different things. What I want to see is this in this game is very simple. I want to see how we look on the offensive line without bringing an extra tight end and the running back to the left side. Like, I understand you're going to have to game plan. I understand this is good, but you can't do that every play. I just don't feel like it's sustainable to just say we don't have a left tackle, so basically we have two guards and a tight end, and then CJ's going to chip every time. Like, it's impossible.
And if you do that, they're going to blitz off the right side like madmen. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So
we're dealing with Belichick here too. Remember, I mean, so it's like that guy's going to exploit you.
I'm going to be interested to see this. Taylor Moton shifting the left tackle. And not only, I have a full faith and confidence in him, man. I wrote about how great he was in week 1, and he's just continued to impress. So I think I think we could be okay with that part. Is that, do we have a guy, is Jeremiah Searles, can someone step in and take over that right guard spot enough to occasionally just not bring help over one direction or another? That's it. So that's what I'll be looking for. I'm pretty excited about everything. Norv Turner's the man. Norv's a steal. Love that name. Joey, did we ask you what you'd be looking for?
Yes.
Okay.
I said to blow out the Patriots.
Oh, that's right. It was to put the
He wants a mini
Put the NFL on notice, baby.
There you go. All right. So this is a C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You can reach us on the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Look, what we really want you to do right now is we appreciate so much you listen to the show. Why don't you flip your phone to portrait mode and smash that thumbs up button. If you're on your computer, it's really easy to smash that thumbs up button. Thank you for your listening on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Subscribe to the podcast. Tell someone about the podcast. That's it. We're not trying to over-promote. All right. Last segment of the show, guys. We've done everything. It's gone on and on and on. The end of the show is where we tell someone to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. Right? And does anybody have an ice up pick that's burning on their heart tonight?
I'll go first.
All right. Well, get them, Joe.
All right. My ice up pick this week is Asia Argento, prominent Me Too activist.
Oh, I saw this.
Who was a fierce accuser of Harvey Weinstein. So this young lady was a prominent activist with the Me Too movement and bringing into light all the sordid, dirty laundry that had been taking place in Hollywood for decades. Which is a good thing. That's fantastic. Right. However, recently, Ms. Argento had a sexual assault claim against her come to light, filed by a former child star named Jimmy Bennett. The notice to sue came in October after Argento had come out against Weinstein. Bennett claimed Argento sexually assaulted him when he was a minor, 17 years old. The claim was settled outside of court for $38,000. This was back in
300 and something, I think.
Was it 380?
Yeah.
Yeah, 380.
Okay. So I saw two different numbers.
Yeah.
Supposedly, I've heard, she was dating Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, really?
Yes, and supposedly I heard he paid for the $380,000 to keep the guy quiet.
Well, why can't she? She's a damn.
And I think it was just because she had been so adamant in the Me Too movement, and now to have this come up that she was committing the same crimes she was demanding Harvey Weinstein be fired for. And to me, this is typical of the progressive movements, but it's not even the progressives, it's all politicians.
Yeah, I was about to say it could just be Trumpian.
Right. Anybody involved wants to say one thing, but then you turn around and look, and they're guilty of the same thing. They got skeletons in their
i.e. Jerry Richardson.
Jerry Richardson's a perfect example. But I think this woman needs to be kicked out of Hollywood. and not allowed, because, what she did was ruin Harvey Weinstein's life and career. Well, he did that.
Yes, he did it.
But she was, on the soapbox screaming for him to be brought down. And he was, and lo and behold, she's paying off somebody that she assaulted.
Can I add on one thing to your ice up pick, Joe? And that is that she also was in a movie with him when he was like 5. And basically was his mother in a movie and kept in contact with him. So it's not just she was a woman that was with a 17-year-old. It was if you happen to know a young lady who was 4 and you waited 13 years.
Right. And stayed in touch with one.
Just a little strange when you throw in that point.
Yeah. It just pisses me off. I think it's disgusting. It really does. And I think, he needs to be punished in some way, whether it be, whatever it may be. It's
she's being punished right here, Joe, by telling her what?
To ice up, son. Or daughter.
All right.
Ice up a daughter.
This is what I got to say to you. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it.
Like I'm some sort of white trash perv?
I'm your sister. I'm your sister.
Oh, you're my sister. Like I'm some sort of white trash perv?
I'm your sister. I'm your sister.
All right, there's a little Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt's one of my favorite all-time movies ever, dude.
And also, by the way, that girl her name is, what is her name? She's in Moms now. She's from Kinston, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Presley.
Yeah, Jamie Presley.
Jamie Presley.
I'm your mama. She should have said, I'm not your mama. All right.
But by the way, to add a little bit to Joey's now, this Asia chick, she's getting into even more trouble because now she's saying that Anthony Bourdain was the one that kept on telling her to just pay the money and just make it go away.
Wait, she want to marry him?
Anthony Bourdain's dead now, so now they're saying not only has she done this, but now she's slandering the dead. Yeah, it's a whole bunch. It's a whole bunch of crap.
All right, what do you got for us, Cody?
Yeah, man. So I don't know. Okay, first off, rest in peace in paradise to the legendary Miss Aretha Franklin, a legend of soul music, man. And some of you might know where I'm going with this, but then you might not. So Fox News, they were running a tribute to Aretha Franklin.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, but instead of showing a picture of Aretha, they showed a picture of Patti LaBelle.
They pulled an old David Newton. That's what they pulled at David Newton.
Hold on, Tony, because I'm pulling a David Newton on you. I'm not icing up Fox News.
Oh!
I am icing up the one Reverend Al Sharpton.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this.
The one Reverend Al Sharpton, because I believe Al Sharpton is a fan of the C3 podcast.
Yeah.
And I think what he was doing is he was trying to ice up Fox News. And he was trying to
get after him.
Trying to get after Fox News. And in the process, he told Fox News, in the words of Aretha, to show her some RESPICT. And, I don't know. Let me think back to my list of third grade vocabulary words. That's not how you spell respect.
Oh my God.
It's not how you spell the word, man. It's literally spelled out in the song of the woman that you're memorializing, dude. Come on, man. So listen, man. Al Sharpton says a whole lot of dumb shit anyway.
Yeah,
but then to make herself look like a dummy in the midst of trying to show how much of a dummy someone else is, Al Sharpton, I suck.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Wow.
All right. My ice up pick is, I hate to mention
Sounds good, Cody.
that was good. You really you head faked this.
Absolutely.
I hate to mention this guy's. I hate to mention this guy's name, but I'm icing up this guy by the name of Chris Watts, and I'm pretty sure, Chris Watts is a guy who murdered his family.
Yeah,
in Colorado. Now, where this story actually hits home is I'm from North Carolina. A lot of us are who listen to this. And this young lady who he murdered, she went to high school with somebody I know. So, so then you hear a little extra about things like this. But this is where the ice up pick comes in. Supposedly, so they find out this guy murders his wife and two little girls. And the wife was pregnant too. So, the fact that you murder your wife is horrific, but then the fact that you murder your children it's unfathomable. I don't even know how to talk about it. But then this is where the ice up pick comes in. They find the guy. He says hey, they're missing. I don't know. She was on play date. She never came back. They find the bodies at his old job, and he worked at an oil refinery plant or some sort of oil plant, and they found the kids in oil drums and stuff.
Yeah.
So then he ends up confessing to the crime, but then this is part of his confession after he confesses. And he says that at some point he looked on the baby monitor and saw his wife strangling the kids. And in a fit of rage, he ran in there and then strangled his wife because of what she did to their children. Now, I don't know how to unravel any of this, but I just got to tell you this, is I call bullshit, and everybody else does call bullshit too, because your ass would not pack mugs in the oil bin and try to discard bodies if that was the case. You would have you would have recorded, you would have said, look at the baby monitor footage on my phone. I turned around, I came and did this bull crap. You wouldn't hide this. You would have just gone ahead and said this, as I was so mad I was going to kill this lady. She killed my children. You would straight up come up with that. So it's a damn lie. You killed your family, dude. It's not an ice up pick. It's just God, you know what? What the hell, man? This is ridiculous, dude. And I don't get any of it. And for you, I hope that God bless you in a way that I don't know what to say. And that's what I mean by this. I'm just going to say ice up. Good goddamn. My kids drive me crazy, but I love them to death.
Never can even imagine.
It's just sad. It's just a travesty. It's so far out, it doesn't even make sense to me. But you know what? The fact that you said that you saw her, you're trying to throw the shade on her.
Yeah.
Shoot.
That's awful.
Whatever. All right, guys. This is C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. That's right. We take it seriously. We have fun, but we're just a bunch of fans chilling out, and we appreciate you chilling with us. I had some great calls on the Cat Calls line tonight. The number's 252-228-5098. Follow us on all the social media at @cat_chronicles. Tell a friend about the show. Cody Lashney, tell them how they can find you on Twitter or wherever you want to be found before next Tuesday.
Yeah, man, at Cody Lax, CODYLAC. Listen, man, I'm responsive. A lot of the guys in the chat room, my man Brandon, a lot of these guys that hit me up on Twitter that chat back and forth with me. I'll talk with you, man. I'll talk some mess. So hit me up on Twitter, ask me questions. I'm generally good at responding. We'll talk about whatever, man.
Joe Riolano, thanks for being with us as usual. My best friend ever in the whole world. Joe, how can they find you?
Well, Tony, as usual, it was a very enjoyable evening. Love talking Panthers football. And if you're on Twitter and you want to hit me up with a question or maybe toss a comment my way, you can find me at Joe Riolano.
Perfect. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me at @cat_chronicles. Do me a solid, man. Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Check out, go to the podcast link and check out the vault. I know many people aren't listening this late in the podcast, but you might be surprised. A lot of things going down. Exciting in the C3 Fantasy Football League. Congratulations, everybody. And, guys, we will see you next week.
Later, y'all.
Good night, guys. Take care.